Hello neighbors, welcome to the rural life. Have you ever just wanted to quit the grind of your 9 to 5 job? Maybe move to a more rural area and live a simple, more sustainable lifestyle? Well, that's what we're doing. My wife and I both grew up around small towns. Our lives carried us around different states, moved us around a little bit, and we both ended up settling here in Tallahassee, state of Florida's capital. We love this city. We just really tired of paying rent and want to get a place of our own, really kind of do our own thing. Um, we love Tallahassee. It's got a great restaurant scene, a lot of nice little bars, clubs. It's really relaxing. I've always referred to it as the biggest small town you'll ever visit, with the exception of the traffic in the fall when the new students come in. But other than that, it's an amazing place to live. Um, Currently, we're buying some land outside of the city. We're still under contract. We're waiting on that date. Should be somewhere close to the end of this month or the first week or two of next month, for us to be signed, keys in hand, moving in, ready. There's a little bit of work that needs to be done in the house, mostly painting and just some small little remodeling jobs, little things that I'm going to be doing myself. A lot of work to be done in the yard. It's 4 acres, 3.5 of which are grown up about neck high. So I have to do a lot of cleaning up with that, majority of which I'm going to do with hand tools. Just don't want to invest into a tractor. I may end up borrowing a small garden tractor from a family member to do the bulk of the heavy lifting, but we're going to get through that. Um, We love the conveniences of the city, but we really want to start bringing a little bit more back home. So we're not moving too far outside of town, just enough to get into a rural patch where we can find some affordable land and be able to grow and garden whatever we want to. We'll be growing a lot of vegetable gardens, including fruit orchards. That's one of my wife's main requirements, is having as many fruit trees as possible, and I'm happy to oblige. Um, our goal is to both provide a sustainable food source for us and possibly income generation. My goal is to be able to start turning a profit within a year and to be able to sustain, I would say, 75% of our produce needs within the first year. That does not include fruit, which I know it takes several years for fruit trees to grow and be productive. So we're working on that as well. One other thing that I'm looking to do within the first year is add a chicken coop. I know this is like the stereotypical first thing that all homesteaders do is get chickens, and there's a reason why. They're just such versatile animals. They squat out eggs. You can raise them for meat. They provide a lot of benefits on the farm, such as scratching up weed seeds, cleaning an area, composting, you name it. Chickens are valuable livestock to have on a farm, and we'll definitely be adding those to it as well. You're going to follow along with me as I actually build the coop, so that'll be kind of fun. I don't know why we're doing this. With all the dangerous chemicals being sprayed on food this day and time, there's a lot more awareness about it, but it's still happening. There's no chance of it stopping anytime soon. So we are wanting to take a more active stance and really getting back to the basics and we want to take a more active stance of getting back to the basics and knowing exactly where our food is coming from, knowing what goes in it, how it's handled, how it's produced, and knowing that it is nutritionally dense, it is safe, and, well, it's tasty. That's really the main thing. We want it to taste good, of course. And it just makes sense to control what you put in your body. We're looking at small-scale sustainability. Being in the technology age, being that my full-time career is surrounded by technology, giving up 100% of this technology age is not going to happen anytime soon. If shit hits the fan, bad times happen, we need to get off grid, I will be prepared for that. I want to start working towards that goal, with that being an emergency out, not necessarily a way of life to start with. We want to just have overall less reliance on fossil fuels, less of a detrimental impact on the earth, just really overall being sustainable, being eco-friendly, and being happy with what we're doing. This being just an intro video, what you can expect from this channel. You can follow along with me as I learn how to upscale my gardening. I have been gardening since I was a child, with the exception of the last 4-5 years or so that we've lived in the suburbs, and have been responsible for a garden for a number of years. So being able to scale that up to provide for the family more than just a few vegetables here and there, and to be able to turn a profit on those vegetables is going to be fun. It's going to be a big experience for me. Never really sold produce before, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot and jumping into it full force. So there's a lot of learning along the way for me. I've learned a lot from other people online, reading books, just following what everyone else is doing, talking to other farmers in my area. So some things I've learned, some things I'm going to have to learn along the way. I'll be glad to share it with you guys every step. I'm going to start working on building up a homestead. Of course, I mentioned the chicken coops. Rain collection I want to get started on pretty soon, if not for all of our drinking water needs, but at least to water gardens, water chickens, things like that. Definitely want to reduce the amount of water we're pumping out of the ground, so to speak. Property we're looking at actually has 3 deep electric wells, which is amazing, if not overkill. But we're definitely going to utilize those and see the best way to use those 3 wells for the gardening and for our home use. Might work alongside that and see what we can do. Land management. I've noticed that there's a portion of the land that seems to kind of wash away when there's a heavy rain, it looks like, to travel down the hill down to a pond that sits on the edge of the property. Definitely want to try to figure out how to manage that water a little bit more, so maybe we can utilize that excess water that gets flushed through the property into the garden areas to water crops. Maybe a way to hold on to some of that water to hold on to that water to better help the crops. Definitely going to be sharing you guys with some of my recipes. I love to cook, so adding these healthy recipes to the blog online is going to be really fun, especially that all these recipes that going forward on here will be specific to the crops that we're growing. So I will show you how to use all of these crops in different fun ways, and you can follow along with me while I learn the business of farming, selling at farmers markets to restaurants in the area. As I said, a lot of the restaurants around here are locally owned and operated. We have your typical chain restaurants, of course, but I would say half the restaurants in this city are local restaurants, majority of which boast on using fresh produce. So I'll be reaching out to them, finding out what their needs are, how I can meet them with the farm, and try to focus on that direction with what I'm growing, and of course what my wife and I choose to eat. Just so you guys know, starting off with, the videos might be a little sparse. While I'm working into an actual video structure that will start once we get started on moving into the property. I start remodeling. I will definitely be filming along that, showing you what I do along the way, how I do it, how I've learned to do it, and maybe learn a few tricks. Of course, like every other YouTube video, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Specifically subscribe, because I would really like for you guys to follow along, see what I'm doing, and you might learn something. You can give me a lot of help and advice along the way. So until next time, neighbors.